Hey, good morning, YouTube. This is your boy Ty Dixon coming back with you with another update on the 20 gallon long. Got really just one or two updates on the actual tank itself, and obviously you guys can see that I got some discus now. I just have two, and this video really isn't about the tank. It's more about the fish themselves, the discus fish themselves. Now this is a fish. Just a little short history about myself and this fish. I've never kept these fish before. I've always seen them in pet stores. They're not really popular. Not at the time back in the day where I live. Only one store had them, and they were very expensive, but they were very beautiful. And I always read about them, studied about them a little bit. I used to check out YouTube discus tanks, and I was always like, wow, these are really beautiful fish. Um, but they seemed a little too fragile for me. I was hearing a lot of stuff about them being, finicky eaters, and they need perfect water and all this and that, and they need high temperatures, and just having these fish for a few months. Some of that's true, some of that isn't. But I just want to share my experience with discus fish, and I'm not an expert by any means. I haven't kept these fish for not even a year. Um, but I think I told you guys on my last video, I had three discus before I had these two, and unfortunately, all of them died when I was going on vacation. My fish keeper basically didn't do anything, and I came back to a dirty tank, and one was dead against my power head, and the other two were barely holding on. And I don't even, when I say barely, I mean like barely, like they were basically dead within like an hour of me finally getting home. But anyway, that was pretty traumatic because I had some beauties, and I just now I have these two discus, which the one in the front there, that's pigeon blood. I'm not sure if it's a checkerboard. It might be. It's really cool. And then this little blue guy, I'm not even sure what it is. Some people said it's a blue diamond, but I don't think it's a blue diamond. I had a blue diamond before. This one's got stripes. I think it's a heckle or something like that. But anyway, if you guys can identify that bluefish right there with the black stripes, that'd be awesome. Just comment below. But anyway, back to the fish. Now, these fish are awesome. They're big, they're beautiful, amazing colors. And once they get acclimated to your tank, they'll show you a lot more personality. Excuse me, guys. But okay, my experiences with the fish. My first three were awesome. They ate right away, especially the pigeon blood. I had another pigeon blood. And the place I got them from, all these fish I got were tank raised. But anyway, I had one at first, and I definitely would recommend you getting these fish in a group. I only got two. Two's okay. I think like four, five, six would be better. When they're by themselves, they tend to just hide. They'll just stay in the corner, and they're not active, and they're scared, and yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't go the route that I went. I'm just, I'm a little cheap as far as that. I try to, I'm not a rich man, but I got a rich man hobby, so to say, per se. But anyway, yeah. So I bought a heckler first, and it just stayed in the corner. But the second I added pigeon blood, they started swimming around together. There was a little bit of fighting, but it's like they were pals, just like these two are. Except around feeding time, the pigeon blood will get a little aggressive. But yeah. So the first batch I got, the first three discus I got, they ate like crazy. They'd come swimming up to the tank as soon as they seed me, and they just be like, feed me, come on, like they fed no problem. And eventually, I had another little blue one, and he'd see them eating, and then he'd start eating. So these two are different than the other discus that I had. These guys are a lot more scared. These guys are scared. They run and hide. They see me. They're just like, man, we out. They could see me walk through the doorway, and they're out of there. You know what I mean? Like they're not messing around. They're just like, all right, I see them like danger. But these fish sometimes, now not every time, sometimes you have to be very patient with these fish, man, because sometimes it could take discus more time to acclimate to your tank. You know what I mean? These guys definitely took some time to acclimate. I want to say it took maybe about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks for them to start acting like normal. I mean, like, as in, like, not just hiding in the corner all day long. I mean, these dudes, when I first fed them, they'd see the food and run and hide. They'd see the food and be like, we're under attack. Let's get out of here. So these guys were almost like frustrating in a way because I'd feed them, and they would never eat. They just would not eat for life, and I was just like, "Geesh, man." But after about a week, I noticed that I would drop food in there, they'd run away, right? And I kind of leave the room, and then when I come back, I'd see them kind of pecking at it on the bare bottom, at the bottom of the tank. So I was like, okay, at least they're nipping at it. You know what I mean? And my other discus, all they ate was bloodworms. They didn't want beef heart. They didn't want flakes. They didn't want pellets. They didn't want nothing but bloodworms. And from doing a little research, bloodworms is good, but it's not the best thing to be feeding them. I heard they could catch all kinds of shit just from eating bloodworms. But these guys, they don't like bloodworms. Okay, that's why I said like each discus is kind of different. Some are gonna be happy to see and come up to the glass and beg for food, and some are just gonna hide for a while. Some discus just really need a lot of time. So this is a fish, like I said, you got to be patient with, man. These guys, I had to be super patient with. These guys are still juveniles. The pigeon blood's obviously bigger. He's probably about 3 inches. Yeah, I'd say about 3, maybe a little bit over 3. And this one's maybe what, 2 inches, 2.5 inches. Say 2.5. But they're juveniles, and juveniles, you have to power feed these guys. You have to give them a lot of food. You got to get them eating. You should be feeding them 2 to 3 times a day, a good amount. And once they get bigger, you can slow down to feedings. You don't have to go crazy with it. But these guys are juveniles, man. So they need to eat. They need to eat, man. So, like I said, I just kept feeding, and eventually now these guys eat pretty aggressively. And, I couldn't be happier, because for a minute I was like, geesh, especially this blue guy, the pigeon blood started eating first. And then finally, after this guy would watch the pigeon blood eat, he was like, oh, okay, all right, I'm supposed to eat that stuff. So now they're both eating like crazy, and, it's a success. But, like I said, these fish aren't your average, freshwater fish. They definitely need some care. But like I said, these fish have been tank raised for generations now, so they're a lot easier to keep. And I would agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But like I said, I don't think this is a fish for beginners. I think this is definitely if you're starting off with a discus tank is your first time. I would definitely go bare bottom. I wouldn't do a planted tank, dirted tank. Just due to the water quality, these guys need clean water. Okay, they need super clean water. I was reading that if the water isn't clean, they won't eat. So they gotta have that clean water. So I have an oversized hang on the back filter. I have a 200 watt Fluval heater, which I keep the temperature at 86 degrees at all time. They definitely need to be in 84 to 86. I wouldn't do the 70s at all. They gotta be in the mid 80s. And because you run the water so warm, I would definitely add an air stone, because we all know, the warmer the water is, the less oxygen. So if you throw an air stone in there, you can balance that out. And I also have oxygen coming from my hang on the back filter. One piece of equipment that I did add, I got a 9 watt UV sterilizer back there. It's one of those green killing machines, very common. I don't know, for a while, I think because I was feeding the tank and I added this piece of driftwood, that the water just, no matter how many water changes I did, I mean, they'd be clean the next day, the water be clear, but then the second, third day, everything would just get cloudy. So I got tired of that. So I was like, man, I'm getting a UV. So it's been great. The water's been absolutely crystal clear with it on. As you could see from the side, you can see all the way down to the bottom, the other side. I mean, it's doing awesome. But as far as equipment, I don't think I'm gonna get anything else on this tank. I got everything oversized, so when I upgrade to a bigger tank, like a 55 gallon or something like that, 75 gallon, I'll have the equipment for it, which is awesome. But yeah, that's just my experience. Like I said, I'm no expert. I've only had these fish for a few months. Like I said, I kept them before, but they died when I was away. Now I got these guys. I'm home. I'm able to watch and observe them. But I can tell you this: after your fish get acclimated, these fish, like I said, they have a lot more personality. They're a lot. They are fun to watch. I mean, you could just sit here. They swim around with each other. They peck at food. They're all over the tank. They're kind of just in the corner right now because I'm filming them. But like I said, these fish are big. They're beautiful. They have amazing colors. They have amazing patterns. I mean, I get it. I get it why there's so many discus keepers out there and discus lovers, and they just love these fish. I mean, it's easy to fall in love with them, man. I mean, I love them. I got this tank in my bedroom. I'll just lay here and look at them. I can't wait to get more. I'm just waiting on my local fish stores to get some more. I definitely want to add at least 2 more to here. I mean, it's only a 20 gallon, but I'll be upgrading soon to a bigger tank. But like I said, they're small now. They're just juveniles, so they got a lot more growing to do. But the journey so far has been really cool, man. I'm learning a lot from these fish. It's very rewarding to keep discus. That's what I've learned. It's very, very rewarding. Um, but that's pretty much it for this video. Just not too crazy. I just wanted to show you guys the fish and show you that they're doing well. I'll probably do a feeding video next, and I also want to show you my 6 gallon in my living room. I added some plants, and I added a couple more neon tetras, and everything's doing well in that tank. So and I want to reply to a comment that I got. I think it was a nice woman. She commented about these lights, about these Aqueon lights, and she asked, she said she was new to the hobby, and she was, I guess, maybe a little worried that these lights were too bright for the fish and the plants. I mean, I know, and that's a good question. And these lights are made for fish and plants, so they're not gonna, these are bright lights. I'll give you that. You turn one of these on, you're gonna think, man. I mean, especially if you keep like plants and stuff like that, you might think, man, these might melt the plants or whatever. But no, these lights are designed for fish and plants. So, like I said, I have this light on my so-called planted tank, kind of a planted tank in my living room. And if you guys want to see a video on that, comment below. And I'll show you that it's actually growing the plants beautifully. They're not browning up or anything like that. They're a nice green color. They're growing roots and they're doing great. So, I mean, don't be afraid of this light. Yeah, it's light. It is a bright light, but I love it. I wouldn't trade these lights in for anything. But I'm going to wrap it up, guys. This is Ty Dixon. I appreciate you guys checking out my discus tank. If you guys keep discus, if you got any pointers you guys want to throw me, please do. Comment below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.